My name is Peter Davison. I played the Fifth Doctor, and you're listening to the Fiveish Fangirls.
The chances as we continue all the way to episode 427 of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast, and I walked almost the equivalent of a half marathon this weekend, and I am feeling it.
Wow.
Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do, Rick, with the virtual table and see who joined us this week. Which is not a whole lot of us this week, actually.
No.
It's just Holly and me.
Yes.
So I don't know if we necessarily need to go around.
Yep. Yeah. I'm sorry. I thought for a minute there, I thought we had Brittany, and it's like, nope. Wait a minute. It's just us.
Nope. Brittany is dealing with
that's
life
right,
stuff.
Weather and life stuff. Yep.
Chrissy has got 2 small children, so who knows? All sorts of stuff happens when you have small children.
Mm-hmm.
So Chrissy may eventually join us. Maybe.
Yes.
We'll see. We had to get started though, because if I sit here much longer, I will fall asleep. I am so tired. Oh my! But we will get to that momentarily. I'm just going to apologize in advance. I'm probably going to be doing a lot of that today. So I'm so sorry.
It's understandable. You were a very busy girl based on all the pictures you were posting.
I have been. I was very, very busy. So, but first, we've got just a little bit of news. So, we got an announcement for Disney/Marvel that we're getting a season 2 of the I Am Groot shorts.
Yes, those look awesome.
Which are so cute.
Oh, I know.
And when I say shorts, they're literally shorts. They are at max 5 minutes, and that includes all the credits.
Yes, but they are so worth it. I watched the first season and enjoyed the heck out of every single one.
Yeah. So, and thankfully Disney Plus has put I Am Groot in its own
little category.
So, but yeah, you can go watch the first 5 of them, and then we're getting however many more we're getting on September 6th, which is National Tree Day.
Oh, even better.
Yes. It is National Tree Day on September 6th, so how appropriate. So we're getting 5 more. So
nice. Then we got a trailer drop for Loki season 2.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So but yeah, they're the little Groot shorts. They're so cute. Mm-hmm. So just seeing what kind of trouble little Groot gets himself into. So I love the little teaser we got is him playing. He's got a Captain America action figure and then what looks like a coffee can.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like flying around and like fighting, and then they're kissing. I don't know who the can is supposed to be, if he thinks that's Bucky.
That could
be. Like he's equating the metal can with Bucky's metal arm or something. Maybe a Groot's a Steve and Bucky shipper. I don't know.
Hey, it makes sense to me.
I guess. Or maybe that's Steve's shield. I don't know. And maybe Groot thinks that Steve is in love with the shield. I have no idea. It's baby Groot logic.
Yes.
It's baby Groot logic. But then apparently there are galactic ice cream trucks that still play and they still play the entertainer.
Wasn't there something with an arcade and Groot wants to go, or is that the ice cream truck? And he's just like, Eh.
Yeah, no, I think that's the ice cream truck, and apparently Groot has pockets.
Yep.
And he doesn't have any money, so but yeah, it's just there.
Groot, were you playing poker with with Star-Lord and Rocket and
No, he's a baby. He's not supposed to have monies.
True.
Go find Rocket. Rocket probably steal the entire ice cream truck for him, actually. So,
hey, I want that truck.
Yep. No, they're nonsense, but they're so cute. So there's a fun little, like, if you need a dose of serotonin, there you go. That's really kind of it. We do have a new episode of Gold Standard in the feed. Finishing out the 2000s, the aughts-ish, first decade of the year 2000 with the Hurt Locker. Speaking of Marvel, there are 3 Marvel actors in that film, although none of them had been in Marvel yet when this movie was made, because it's 2009. But it is kind of wild seeing multiple Marvel, when you watch something and there's multiple Marvel actors, and then they, encounter each other, and you're like, this is wrong.
Yeah, what alternate universe is this?
Yeah,
it's like when you watch Goodfellas or that, and you're a Sopranos fan. It's just like, the Sopranos.
Yeah. It's like, that's not how this is supposed to work.
No, you two are supposed to be sworn enemies. No, or you two are supposed to be getting along. Now, make nice.
Yep. So, there's that, and then supposed to be this weekend we're supposed to be recording this month's Patreon episode. So
nice.
Which we are doing the Karate Kid.
Ooh.
The OG one, not the remake with Will Smith's kid.
Okay, good. So, I was about to ask.
Yeah, no.
I was thinking you'd lean more towards the OG.
Yeah, it's the OG Karate Kid. So
good.
Funnily enough, available on Disney Plus here in the US.
Nice.
So there is
very nice. And one more little bit of housekeeping.
Yep, new month. Welcome to August.
Yes. Yep, new Goodreads Doctor Who book club.
Yep.
We are doing The Horror of Glam Rock, which is a Paul McGann Big Finish audio. And our poll for September is Blood of the Daleks Volume 1, Dark Skies Volume 2, Adventure of Charlotte Pollard Volume 1, and Light at the End. So there's your picks. I thought I'd do the Big Finish route for a while, just as long as we're building up to the 60th, and in case this stuff later on drops for the 60th, I want to make sure that when it's available, we got poll space.
Fair enough.
That's my reasoning. Or if any of the listeners have suggestions of like, hey, why not this one? Send a suggestion on Goodreads. You know where to find us.
Sound logic, if you ask me.
Yep, and you can still, if there's older stuff that's been in the poll and you want to send feedback in for that, go ahead, send feedback on the Goodreads. We'd love to interact that way.
Well, there is that. Let's go on to feedback. First up, we got some feedback from Shalay.
Yay!
He says, feedback and welcome back.
Why is the Welcome Back Cotter song going through my mind right now?
She says the only movies I've seen Paul Rubens in are Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Big Top Pee-wee, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Matilda, Beauty and the Beast, Christmas, and Batman Returns. She says I didn't know that Pee-wee's Big Adventure was a Tim Burton film, and that Paul Rubens was in Tim Burton movies. Like, yep, actually, Tim Burton. Pee-wee's Big Adventure was one of Tim Burton's earliest films, and it was Danny Elfman's very first major motion picture score. So there's a bit of trivia you can stick in your pocket for some time. She says also in Batman Returns, the women playing the Penguin's mothers also in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. She was the woman going to Paris. Tim Burton likes using the same people over and over again, just like a lot of the big directors do. Steven Spielberg's got a handful of people he likes to use.
Yep.
Tom Hanks.
Heck, we could even say the BBC does too.
Yes. Well, that's because there's only 12 actors to begin with.
True.
We have slightly more actors here in the United States. So, yeah. She says, yes, I did go see Barbie around my birthday. It was hilarious. So many Easter eggs. Tons of people I know have dressed up as Barbie, and it dominated at the box office. So watch out, Super Mario Bros. I still love you. Yes, with the Barbie has now made Greta Gerwig the first woman director with a solo directing credit. Direct a film that has broke $1 billion.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
awesome.
that is just very awesome and so amazing.
Yeah. I hope, knock on wood, that maybe I will go see Barbie tomorrow as we're recording this.
Fingers crossed for you.
Cross my toes. All that fun stuff.
Now, hopefully once everything dust settles, I wouldn't mind having another kind of a dual movie mashup. To get, it's healthy, friendly competition, and everybody supporting everybody else. I mean, it was a cool, very cool.
Yeah, well, as Shalane's next point, give it another 15 years, because 15 years ago, The Dark Knight and Mamma Mia both released on the same date, and both dominated the box office. And now we have Barbie and Oppenheimer. Which, of course, The Dark Knight and Oppenheimer, both Christopher Nolan films. So
true, yeah.
Give it another 15 years. Who knows what will happen?
Yeah.
I hope the strike is over by then.
Oh, you and me both.
Otherwise, it's going to be a long 15 years.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I got plenty of stuff that I can rewatch and go through, but
yeah,
I like new content though too.
Yeah. Well, but I got a lot of stuff that would be even new to me, even if it's not new.
True. Yeah.
She says, I'm excited for the Marvels. I hope it's good. I'm getting nervous for it because I was nervous for Captain Marvel, and it turned out great. I agree. I think I'm excited. And I'm always excited for a new Marvel movie. So
yeah. And FYI, for those who don't have Disney Plus, I forgot to mention it last week when we were on Saturday nights on ABC. They're running like 3 episodes of Ms. Marvel. So they aired the first 3 episodes this past Saturday. They're going to air the next 3 this coming Saturday. Yep. I made sure to make sure the channel was there and DVR'd and watched my DVR just for, help.
It helps.
Yep.
Yeah. That's cool.
Mine got delayed because of the Packer Family Fun Night, but it still got aired.
Yep.
So just a little FYI.
She says, I didn't know you girls knew who Karen Hallion is. I haven't followed her on social media for a while. because as a Doctor Who fan, her stuff would pop up because she does the stuff with the TARDIS. So the algorithms know. The algorithms do get it right sometimes. I didn't know who she was either until I found out that she was the artist who did the Disney Doctor crossover art. Now I know who she is now. I have a couple of her artwork, like her She series poster of women from the MCU, Star Wars, and Disney, because Karen Hallin is my role model. I'm going to get more from her, and I'm sure she would appreciate it. So support women artists!
Yes.
I forgot to mention, I think Paul Rubens came to Fan X years ago. He might have. Chrissy would probably know. So that's it from Shalane. I've got some feedback from Aaron. His subject line says, I am become Barbie, destroyer of Kens. Hello, my Fiveish hosts. Fandom news was fun to hear. I don't typically go chasing down all the news, and during this last episode, I came to realize I get most of that news through you. So it was a little amusing to hear all I have missed. Well, cool. Glad to know our new segment is coming in handy.
Yes. Yay!
Shalane mentioned a
schedule.
Shalane mentioned a David Bowie biopic. If one were to be made, I'd like to see it done in a similar manner as Todd Haynes' Bob Dylan movie, I'm Not There, where different aspects of his life have Dylan played by different actors. Kate Blanchett being one of those.
Yes.
The idea of Bowie the singer, the Ziggy Stardust persona, and Bowie the actor being portrayed by 3 different people is appealing to me. Maybe throw in a 4th for his private life. Not sure who I'd all cast, but Tilda Swinton seems perfect to take on Ziggy Stardust. Yeah, actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can see that big time.
Yeah. Although if you've watched American Gods and saw
Gillian Anderson
as TV / the entertainment god, and one of the physical representations she takes on at one point is Bowie with the lightning bolt makeup. She looks really good. I don't know if she can portray it. I think maybe she's not quite tall enough, maybe, but she certainly looks really good. So Tilda Swinton, she's got the body type for it, definitely. So lastly, I like the brief talk on Oppenheimer and Barbie. Oppenheimer was fantastic. However, when friends have asked me about it, the first thing I stress is that it isn't the action-oriented movie that Christopher Nolan is typically associated with. This is a 3-hour movie of people sitting and talking. Yes, the explosion sequence is marvelous, but that's one scene in an otherwise dialogue-heavy script. Personally, I think Oppenheimer is the front runner for Best Director, Adapted Screenplay, and Leading Actor come award season. It's definitely an Oscar. Yeah. It's definitely an Oscar contender. So. But yeah, I mean, it's science. So yeah, there isn't really a whole lot of action until they actually test it to see if the science checks out. So it is a lot of the moral dilemma of what went into the Manhattan Project, because we were in this position of being stuck in the middle of this world war with the goose steppers on one side, and then you've got the Japanese who decided they needed to cross the ocean and bomb us. So it was like, it's good. We had all of these different, you've got the communism and the fascists and all this, all these people that were just like out for blood, and people came to the decision that literally a nuclear option was the only option we really had to stop this thing in its tracks. So it's like, go big or go home.
Right. Yeah.
So But it was not a decision that they
destruction.
Yeah, it was not a decision they came to lightly, and even after, it's like, it did the job.
Right.
But the literal and figurative fallout, where is still being felt to this day, with nuclear weapons still being on the table for several countries.
Yeah. And some who say they probably don't, but they probably do.
And then there's some who would like some.
Oh yeah.
They don't have them yet, but they like them. So
yeah.
So I'm not surprised that this is not very action oriented. I'm sure it's very cerebral. So, but in some cases, the Academy really likes that. So, and actually, personally, myself, I kind of like that sometimes. So. I look forward to seeing it, but Chauncey wants to see it, so I have to wait until we can go see it together. Barbie, not so much. He doesn't care as much about going to see Barbie, so I can go do that on my own. But Oppenheimer, I'm waiting till he's like, okay, let's go. So, let's see. Aaron continues. Barbie, I'll start by saying I don't think I was the intended audience, and I had very little interest when it was announced. Then I heard two glorious words: Greta Gerwig. I think she is one of the best working writer-directors we have right now, and a wonderful actress to boot. I loved Barbie. It was phenomenal because the Academy hates comedies. I doubt that it's awards luck, but I'm the first to hope I'm wrong. That is true. The Academy generally hates comedies. It's not technically, I know it's got a musical. I know Ken's got like a musical number, but it's not technically a musical either. Although the Academy does sometimes like musicals, but not always. So I think it will get nominated, but yeah, I don't necessarily see it winning.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, from what I've heard, it is Zan from Gold Zan. Zan has seen it 5 times.
Wow, and that says a lot if Zan's seen it 5 times.
Yeah,
just knowing Zan.
Yeah. So she says it's absolutely amazing. So yeah, Barbie will definitely get nominations, and in some big categories, and so probably some technical ones as well. I could see it probably being a front runner for like costume design.
Oh yeah. Set decoration.
Set decoration, which is really production design,
right? Yeah,
what they call it, but essentially that's what it is. And
costuming, maybe.
Yeah, but I would. It's statistically not likely to win Best Picture. Will probably get nominated. It could win in the acting categories though, because they don't mind giving out acting awards to comedies,
right?
So, or comedic performances. So, but we shall see. Especially with everything that's going on right now, we'll see if and when we get the Academy Awards for films of 2023. Oh goodness. He finishes. Sorry for the longer email, but I had to make up for the lost weeks. So no problem, Aaron. Thanks for all you do, and take care, Aaron.
Thank you, Shalene and Aaron.
A problemo. Right, all you want.
Yes.
Does not hurt our feelings at all. There is that. So let me give my recap of my crazy adventures at GenCon this year. which this was my.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if I started going in 2015 or 2016.
I can't
it's
remember.
I'd have to scroll back and look. Chauncey and I went one random year when we were first together for a day, and I was like part of a day, and we were like, okay, we did it. That's a thing. And then I went for a day in 2013 because that was the year that Peter Davison was here.
Oh, of course. You have to go when there's a Doctor Who actor.
Exactly. And by then I was deeply into Doctor Who. So Peter Davison got to be the first person from Doctor Who I ever got to meet.
Nice.
But after that, I can't remember if I started going in 2015 or 2016. It was definitely a year or two after we started the podcast. Mm-hmm. And I had just applied on a whim. I was like, sure, why not? And so then I did, and it got accepted, and then I've been going ever since. And it's taken me up until now to figure out how to make GenCon work for me. Because my first couple years, I tried to do everything, and you can't. No. It's not physically possible. I wanted to do it all, and I wanted to see it all. And all the things, and
basically,
I know better now.
Yeah, basically, in order to do everything, see everything, you need a Hermione Granger time turner, pretty much.
And even then, I don't think I'd want to, because that just meant that would just mean I'm going back in time and walking even more.
True.
And I don't want to do that because I'm old. Granted, I was younger then, but still. I would feel even older now if I'd done that to younger me. So I'd rather not. And that's something I told Sean from Caption Life, because this was his first time covering GenCon as press. And he asked because he's got a Discord for people to go and hang out. You're in there.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I invited you.
That's right. Yeah,
because he was asking.
I'm on so many Discord feeds that were popping up with news. I had to turn off the notifications. I'm just like, okay, my phone is blowing up. I will look later.
Yeah. But he was asking, he's like, what would you get leading up to GenCon? He's like, what do you guys wanted to see from me? And I'm like, don't. Your listeners, your followers, your watchers, what what kind of content they like. If you pay attention to the algorithms and the stats and stuff like that, and the kind of feedback you get, and essentially, for lack of a better term, cater to your audience.
Exactly.
And go with that, because otherwise, if you try to cater to everybody, you're going to drive yourself nuts, because you can't. You're going to want to try and do it all, and you just can't. So you got to pick and choose your battles. So that is something that I have actively tried to do ever since. It can be a little difficult because you get the event catalog. The event catalog comes out before you're actually able to register for stuff, and you're looking at it and you're like, oh, that sounds like good. That looks like fun.
Like, ooh,
it's like getting the Toys R Us catalog going into Christmas. And then also being on the press list, getting all the emails from the different gaming companies with like, here's what we're working on, and here's the stuff that we're going to be releasing. And then you start getting the emails saying, hey, we're going to be at GenCon. If you want to come talk to us, click this link and schedule a time. And or stuff, or email us back and let us know what times would work for you, because it depends on how big they are. Some of them they use an online scheduler. Some of them are small enough that they just handle it via email. And sometimes they're just like, stop on by. You don't have to schedule anything. So it's like you're trying to plan around events that you want to go to, but at the same time, it's like, I'm there as press, so I need to do like press related things. So not that GenCon's very picky when it comes to that sort of thing. It used to be the first few years they were like, please send us a link to your afterwards of your coverage and all that sort of stuff. They don't ask for that now. I think because they can just dive into the social media and see for themselves, I think.
Right.
So this year, I had scheduled some events purposely on Sunday, and I'd done like 2 events on Saturday, and one of those was the cosplay contest.
Nice.
And I was, so when the catalog, went live and you could actually register for stuff, I was like, I'm just gonna do this, and this. And then the interview emails started coming in, so then I had to pick and choose based on whether the company had stuff that I knew our listeners would be interested in hearing about, versus what kind of time slots we were looking at, that sort of thing. So I scheduled all of my press for Friday.
Probably a very smart move.
For one solid day. I'm like, so I can just do all my interviews and do all the talking and get it out of the way, and then I'll be free of that particular responsibility.
Exactly.
And that worked out fairly well, actually.
Hey.
So I did not go to trade day this year because I had work. I do have a day job. I did not know this when I was originally scheduling like events from the catalog. I did not know that I was going to be house and cat sitting.
Oh, lovely.
Wednesday and Thursday as well. So but thankfully that worked out okay. So I was able to go Wednesday evening and swung downtown and got my badge once the press room was open for badge pickup. And by then the will call line was fairly long. So I was like, I'm not concerned about it right now because I don't have anything. I don't have any paper tickets that I need in hand right now this very minute. So then I went back to the house to continue house and cat sitting. So then Thursday, I worked while cat in house sitting, and then I had to come home to do gold standard. And the next person who's going to continue the house and cat sitting was taking over. So
you hand it off, like okay.
I hand it off. Yeah, my dad's like, "Is your shift done?" I'm like, "Yep, I'm going home." So then I got up Friday morning and got myself all ready and popped on downtown and immediately went to the press room to grab something to drink and see what all was going on, because they tend to put copies of new releases. They have them in the press room with little tags letting you know what the booth number is where you can find it.
Oh, nice.
So
Cool.
that was and we're allowed to open whatever we want and play with it if we like.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So that's nice. They usually have beverages in there for us. They've got water and soda on ice, cans of soda on ice. So and of course there's outlets, plug in your phone, that sort of thing. So that's where I ran into Sean the first time. Because he was getting his equipment all set up. And so we chatted a little bit, and I was like, welcome to the madness that is press coverage at GenCon. So
your life will never be the same afterwards.
Yeah, I'll be really interested to see what all he got. So because his obviously his audience is slightly different than ours. There's a little bit overlap, but so yeah. And then I went off to my first interview of the day, which was with Chris of Modifius, who we talked to I interviewed him years before pre-pandemic, which might as well have been 5 million years ago at this point. One of those years, pre-pandemic. But Modifius, of course, they have the Star Trek tabletop RPG that Chrissy and Jared have done a review on the Tricorder edition of that, but they have since released one of their newest releases is the Captain's Log, which are solo adventures.
Nice.
And then they have one for the original series, Next Gen, and Deep Space Nine.
Sweet.
So you can play solo as a Starfleet captain. And it actually has you can put your captain's log in there if you want to. So it's really cool. The books are really nice. So and then they've got accompanying themed dice. So with the appropriate colors. So you got your red dice, you got your yellow dice, you got your blue dice. So and depending on whether you're talking OG series or next gen. So so that was nice. And then they've because Modifius does a combination of original material and then recognizable IPs. Like they also have a Dune RPG as well that's licensed. One of their newer releases is or actually I think they've had it for a while, but they've like their newest expansion is Fallout, which Chrissy was drooling over the miniatures from the Fallout. One of the pictures that I posted, she's like, oh my god. But then they've got a couple of new releases that are original. So that, and they were obviously sharing that and promoting it. So as you do, because that's the way it works. Dreams and Machines, that's their original IP that is currently slowly being rolled out. I really like the fact with this this game, Dreams and Machines, instead of just having like a big fat rule book that somebody will have to read and then try to explain it to the other people on how to play. Instead, it's a tutorial.
Nice.
So you can just jump right in and it'll walk you through it in the process of also teaching you the rules and how to play.
Cool.
I was like, that's such a good idea. instead of somebody sitting there reading
and
however many
interpreting.
pages. Yes, of like, how do we play this? It's like, no, you just start with the tutorial and you can dive right in. And they have plans to do like expanded universe materials. Like there's going to be an accompanying novel.
Oh, nice.
That gives you more of like your main character's backstory and more world building and stuff. So that's really cool. So, I have no idea what any of the audio from my interview sounds like because, this was bound to happen in all the years I'm doing this. I took my recorder. And I got there and I replaced the batteries. And when I went and replaced the batteries and turned it on, nothing. It was like no data. And I realized that I had not put the SD card back in after I'd taken it out.
Oopsies.
From the last time I'd used it. So with no SD card, the recorder was essentially useless. So I used a recording app on my phone instead, which, I mean, it's an iPhone. The microphone's pretty good, but the vendor hall is very loud. And then I sing with my recorder it's intended for like actually recording voices. It's got a proper microphone and stuff. So I have not had a chance to actually listen to the audio yet. I'm sure I can use some of it.
Right.
I may have to cut some pieces out where it's just like too noisy. But I do have audio from all of these interviews. So yeah. But it was nice to speak to Chris again. And then after that, I had a chunk of time actually before I had my next interview, so that was my opportunity to wander the vendor hall. And that's so, and of course Modifius was on one far end of the vendor hall. So I was like, well, I'm on this side already, so I'm just gonna wander. But I ended up doing a demo playtest for this game called Overlords of Infamy. And the only reason I stopped is because the one guy standing outside the booth had a stuffed corgi on his head. And he was like,
way to get to Rachel.
Exactly. It's like, you have corgis. First off, you have dogs.
Heck, it would get me too, so I'm there.
Yeah. Yeah. Cats, maybe not so much, unless it's exploding kittens. Right. Dogs, on the other hand, I'm likely to stop. Corgis, you've definitely got my attention. So the guy was like, yes, this is Waffles. I like the name. He's an evil overlord. And I'm like, okay, well, you got my attention. So they're like, you want to try the game out? I'm like, absolutely. They're like, sit over there and we'll find some people to play, so we needed 4, preferably. But since I was the first one to sit down, I got first choice at which character I wanted to play. And of course I'm going to play Waffles.
Exactly.
So like, which character would you want to play? I'm like, the corgi. So essentially each person plays an evil overlord of some sort. There was, if Waffles was not part of it, I definitely would have played the T-Rex with the towel hat and monocle.
Cute.
Yeah. But the idea is you play an evil overlord, and the map is of this area, and you draw a card, kind of like in Ticket to Ride, where you need to like complete a pattern, but in this case you need to collect resources to be able to enact your evil plan. But the thing is, all of the evil plans are not like, they're not like, blow up like a major city. It's all the evil plans are to make this land as like do things that are like the most inconvenient.
Mischief, basically. Pretty
Yes,
much.
essentially, like take one of everybody's shoes, but only the left one.
All right.
Yeah.
Or take the batteries out of all the remotes and hide
Exactly.
the batteries.
Exactly. Make sure that all showers can only reach tepid, as far as temperature. So you have to move around and collect resources, and you got little minions or little meeples. And then there's a hero. There's a hero that's supposed to be able to swoop in and stop the evil overlords, but sometimes when you're rolling for the hero, the hero is very lazy and only moves like one spot, so they can't do much. So it was quite fun. So the fun thing is the guy said you could play, because the way we were playing it, there were the four of us and we were all evil overlords, but then we would also alternate playing the hero as well. But he said if you wanted to, you could have one player just play the hero.
Oh, cool.
And then everyone else could play an evil overlord. So
now, are all the evil overlords trying to work together, or are you also trying to sabotage?
No, you're also trying to sabotage each other, so you can do things like steal their resources or make them dispose of resources. And there's a finite amount of each resource, so you really play until there's a counter that you reach a certain point, or all the resources run out, whichever comes first.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, it was, but they were fun. So, but it's always a bonus that when you stop and you try out a game, that the game is actually kind of fun. So,
so 4 paws up with a tail wag?
Possibly. Well, I would say 3 paws up and maybe a nose wiggle. I put them a nose smear on the window. So then I went and grabbed lunch, which they are usually all the food trucks are out on Georgia Street, which is an area that they had turned into more pedestrian friendly when the city hosted the Super Bowl back in 2012. Right. However, they are doing construction in that area right now as they expand. They do some expansions, building a new hotel and creating even more outdoor pedestrian space that, in theory, is supposed to be done before the city hosts the NBA All-Star Tournament early next year.
Oh boy.
We'll see if that happens.
Crack the whip.
Yeah, I don't... Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. I have a feeling this winter is going to be harsh, so that's going to make things a little difficult, but whatever. It's not me doing it. Right. So,
yep.
But yeah, they announced like a few months ago, they're like, yeah, we're going to tear all down all this stuff. We're going to build this big outdoor space, and there's going to be restaurants and some shopping, and we're going to build a new hotel. And this is going to be done before we host the All-Star Tournament, which is like February of next year. I'm like, okay, well, have fun with my taxpayer dollars, I guess.
And then we're also in the Tornado Alley-ish area too, so other during summer. Yeah.
So, whatever. Said, I'm not the one having to do the building. So.
Exactly. Yep. You and me.
But anyway, because of that, they moved all the food trucks to South Street, which runs in between Lucas Oil Stadium and the backside of the convention center, the newer end of the convention center that they built again when we hosted the Super Bowl, when they expanded it, which actually ended up working out really, really well. Because that actually gave the food trucks more space, so that the lines weren't necessarily as confusing. Like, who you in line for? Who you in line for? Which was really nice. And they were able to turn the parking lots, which granted it cut down on some parking, but whatever. Didn't bother me because I don't park near the convention center for GenCon. But they were able to turn those immediately the closest parking lots into eating spaces. So they were able to put out things like picnic tables and the like Sun King, which is a local beer manufacturer. They always have a beer garden, and they create a unique beer for GenCon each year that's themed. So, and now they've partnered with a local winery as well. So they've got wine in cans that you can buy or buy the bottle. So there's that. And like the different drink vendors, and even over at Lucas Oil Stadium, there were a lot of people sitting outside eating, but they put a sign outside that says, please come bring your food inside and eat if you want to.
Oh, nice.
Inside, I mean, they use Lucas Oil for GenCon, so people can go in there anyway. But the fact that they were encouraging people, like, don't feel like because you're not buying from like the concession stands in Lucas Oil, you can't come in with your food. Because I'm sure some people probably thought that. They're like, no, bring in your food. Come in. We've got air conditioning.
Yeah.
We've got plenty of seating. So it's like, we've got bathrooms that aren't very high traffic, so they're clean. So yeah, I would say even when they finish with the construction, I think they should keep the food trucks over there by South Street, because I think that was a great. I mean, it kind of sucks that it's a far into the convention center, but
if you had that much open space,
to have that much open space and also access to seating, both indoors and outdoors. I mean, come on. So I'm totally down for that. So I mean, I only got lunch.
Make sure you put it in the feedback if you get an email for.
I mean, I only got lunch from the food trucks once. And I got the same thing I got last year. I went to the forking pierogi, where I got the Banff, which is potato and cheese pierogi with covered in bacon bits, and their homemade like ranch, but I think it's a garlic ranch. And then it comes with a full size smoked kielbasa as well.
Nice.
So yeah, it's really good. The kielbasa is always a little. It's got some bite to it. It's got some black pepper in it.
Oh yeah.
But when you dip it in a little bit of the ranch and get some of the bacon bits and a little bit of pierogi on your fork, oh, it's really good. So, so highly recommend that particular food truck. So, and then I just I did a bit more wandering before my next interview, which actually was outside of the convention center. I had to go over to the Marriott, where I talked to. I'm gonna butcher his name. I'm so sorry, because he's like Swedish or something. So Ilya, I think is that how he pronounced it. And he's from a newer gaming company called Incredible Dream Studios, which unfortunately I did not get a chance to go by when Jane, their founder, one of their co-founders, was there. But it is co-founded by a woman, which is really cool. But he showed me, he explained to me their main game that they're currently selling, but he didn't have any copies of because they were selling through them so quickly that he ended up having to give the booth the demo copy he was using so they could sell it, which is a good thing. Thankfully, he had a
thing.
PowerPoint presentation, so
right, yeah.
so he's still able to explain it and show off some of the art and stuff. But he did have one of the it's not an expansion, but it's a smaller offset of the game set in the same universe. That he did have that he was able to show me, and then he had a cardboard and paper prototype of a game that they're currently working on that they're hoping to launch next year. But he was super nice. He's very enthusiastic. Talking about their games and products despite the noise going on in the lobby of the hotel. So again, have no idea how usable the audio is going to be, but I'll give it a shot. I forgot to mention, I did buy one game that day as soon as I was done with Modifius. In the process of wandering, I made my way over to Renegade.
Oh, nice.
And picked up my copy of the Good Omens card game. Which I picked up and was very excited and screamed to myself, and then I walked over to the cash register and plopped it down and was just grinning from ear to ear, and the guy was like, "You ready?" And I'm like, "Uh-huh." And he just did not understand how excited I was to be buying this game. So,
Renegade putting out some
I know you don't understand. It's Good Omens. And it's Good Omens season. I could not have my heart broken. Spoilers. We're gonna get to that, I promise.
In a couple of weeks, yep.
We'll have our therapy session in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
But yeah, so I was like, I bought my Good Omens and I was very happy. So Renegade, they also do the Power Rangers RPG and the My Little Pony RPG, which I have a friend that actually worked on that. So
cool, very cool.
It was really cool to see that and be like, hey, I know somebody worked on that. And then of course I wandered some more. Every so often there'd be a booth that has dice and you have to stop because you're like, ooh, shiny.
Yes, math attacks.
Yes.
Math rocks.
Yep. It's like, shiny. And then I was on I finished with Elia in the Marriott, and I wanted to go like a couple blocks over to Starbucks. Yeah, so by then it's afternoon, so I was like, "Diver, pick me up," and I ran into Sean again. And I was like, 70,000 people. How do I run into you a second time in a completely different location? Granted, running into him in the press room kind of makes sense,
right? But about
should
all
be that
the Starbucks and all the places,
yeah. But I was like, we're outside of the convention center, like a couple blocks over. And you're here, and he's like, yep. So we chatted a couple more minutes, and that's when I bemoaned the fact that I was slightly pissed off, even though I had been having a good day. And again, first world problems, pretty much anything and everything that happened, at least to me personally, first world problems. But it wasn't until way after the fact that, speaking of press, there's a YouTube channel. They're called Above Board TV. And I am sure that they are probably, they're all over the interwebs. They have to be, because they were like, they were on some of the digital billboards around the convention center. So like, these guys are serious as far as content creation. But they're gaming focused, of course. But they were I guess big enough that they were able to host their own live event at GenCon. And they were doing let me see if I can find the description. I don't think I can. They were doing a live event. Talking gaming, of course. They were going to talk about underwater basket weaving. No. That would have been really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they were doing where is it? I will find it. They're just calling it above board live show. No real description. With special celebrity guests, including Matthew Lillard, who is always at GenCon because he has a company called Beetle and Grimm.
Yep.
Matthew Lillard from Scooby-Doo, the live action Scooby-Doo. If you don't know, he played Shaggy, among other things. That's on Scream. So Matthew's in and out. So sometimes you can catch him at the Beetle and Grimm booth. It just kind of depends on what he's doing. I saw him passing last year. Never saw him this year, but I was not necessarily on that side of the vendor hall a whole lot.
Right.
But anyway, Chris Parnell, who's from Saturday Night Live. The other guy, unfortunately, I have no idea who he is and what he's from. So I'm sorry to Ukaresh. I have no idea who you are, but their other guest, freaking Granted, I've yet to been able to confirm if Clark was actually physically there.
I think
or if he was dialed in.
Okay, I can't remember because somebody posted a picture and I said far back, so I don't know if it was screen or
I haven't seen anything. I can't find anything.
I saw one pic, but I can't remember if I saw it on a Discord feed or if I saw it on a Facebook feed.
Well, if you think about it, send it to me and I will analyze it like the Sherlock Holmes that I am.
If I can find it again, I will most definitely send it to you.
I mean, the fact that Clark, of the 3 celebrity photos, Clark's is the only one that's in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that means anything or if that's just the headshot they got from his PR person to use for that particular piece of promotion. So yeah, but either way, I would have got to see and hear Clark Gregg in real time live, whether he was physically there or not, if I had known about this ahead of time, but I did not find out about it until hours after it occurred. So of course the rest of the day I'm casually scanning the crowds like Clark Gregg.
Coulson!
Just in case.
Coulson.
Exactly. But it was just like, really? You gotta be freaking kidding. Clark, of all the celebrities in all the world that could have gotten grabbed for something at this convention that takes place in my hometown, literally down the street from where I work, it had to be Coulson. So I will feel slightly better if somebody's like, yeah, no, Clark was not actually there. He was just zoomed in or whatever. That will make me feel slightly better. But if it turns out he was actually physically here, I may punch something or something. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Your inner Elliot Spencer from Leverage is showing there, Rachel.
Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, Holly, you're killing me.
Sorry, I found it.
Oh, he was actually here. Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm.
That makes my heart hurt. That makes my heart hurt so bad. I die. Clark Gregg, he was in. Okay, moving on. Not enough pierogies in the world, I tell you. So yeah, Clark Gregg was at GenCon, at least for a little bit, and I didn't get to see him, and I'm sad. I has a sad. So anyway, moving on, because that's what we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So my second to last press interview was with Andrew over at the OP
Nice.
Games, who if you've ever walked in any store and seen the 5 bazillion different themed versions of Monopoly
and Clue,
you have them to thank.
Mm-hmm.
Among other things.
Yes.
So, but Andrew's very nice, very knowledgeable. This was his first GenCon.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we had a nice discussion about crowds and a little bit of the madness that had occurred that morning or the day before. This is Friday now, Thursday morning. Which I will touch on that when I get to my adventures of Saturday night, because they're connected. They're related. So yeah, we had a nice discussion about his experiences up to that point for his very first GenCon. Then he showed me the games that they were demoing, including their some of their new releases, like this really gorgeous looking, the art is just beautiful, of this card game where you are trying to catch a really gnarly wave. You're essentially playing a surfer.
Oh, cool.
And you're trying to score a better score than your fellow surfing contestants. So, but the
nice
art on the cards is absolutely beautiful. There's another game that's you're trying to solve an art heist.
Ooh.
But it's all in French.
Huh.
So
let me guess, it's based in the Louvre.
Yeah, well, it's fine art. So but yeah, the whole thing is in French. So but he says people don't seem to mind. So it's easy enough to figure out. I'm like, I might need this just to practice my own French. I was reading the back of the box. I'm like, I actually understand some of this. Go me.
Cool.
The lessons, they're working.
Yahoo.
And then of course they have their Disney Sorcerer's Arena game, which leading up to GenCon, they had been having a tournament at various places across the country. And the people that would win their local tournament would win an opportunity to come to GenCon and play in the big final tournament.
Oh, nice.
To become the ultimate Disney champion of this particular game. Which they ended up holding that Saturday night. And when I saw Andrew again on Sunday, I asked him how it went. He's like, went great. Person who won walked away with $10,000.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Well, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. And then my very last press stop was a company called Solus.
Okay.
Not soulless, but like SOLIS, like solar.
Gotcha. Mhm.
And their thing is this game called Pocket Paragon, and it's just a card based game where two people battle it out. But they have made the game so, like, if you have the space, there's a board, a mat that you can play on it's got the spots, designed on it to show you where to put your cards, and there's a counter to counter points and stuff like that. But you don't have to have that, and all you really need is just the cards, and they're standard card size, so they fit in your pocket. Hence, Pocket
Nice.
Paragon. And they just signed an agreement with. Hold on, let me find my. Let me find my notebook. Maybe what'd I do with it? I lost my notes. Like I'm losing my mind. Yeah, it's all good. It happens every year. And am I surprised every year? Yes, of course. Why am I surprised every year? I have no idea. You would think I would be used to it by now. I'll find it. I'll have it linked in the show notes. Regardless of my lack of memory, I am Dory from Finding Nemo. Anyway, they've just signed an agreement with I think it's Image Comics.
Okay, that sounds about right. Image Comics is
with Image Comics to create cards with using some of their comic book characters. So
nice.
Yep. So it's really cool. And after that I was tired, so I went home.
I don't blame you. Sounds like a very, very busy day.
Yeah. So then Saturday, like I said, I kept that was gonna be my day where I really didn't have anything scheduled other than I made sure to get a ticket for the cosplay contest. And my alarm went off, and I got up, and I took my morning meds, and answered the call of Mother Nature, and I was like, you know what? I'm not getting up right now. I'm going back to bed.
Don't blame ya.
I don't have anything immediate, so I'm going back to sleep. So then I did. And I finally got up I finally got up a little after 11. And so here's the thing. There was rain in the forecast. Chauncey was looking at the app on his phone. I was looking at the app on mine. It said that it was supposed to start raining about 5:30, and as the evening went on, get more intense.
Right.
With like severe thunderstorms and things like thunder and lightning and all that fun stuff. It's like a little rain never hurt anybody unless you're the Wicked Witch of the West or you're made out of sugar. Thunder and lightning, on the other hand, you don't necessarily want to be outside for. That's a little dangerous.
Oh, no.
And so, Chauncey's like, yes, so start about 5:30, go on for close to the rest of the evening. And I'm like, well, of course, that's the time that I would about be walking back to the car, is when it was supposed to start raining. So, I was like, okay, well, based on this information, let me adjust my day a little bit.
Right.
So I got, I finally got up and got dressed, went downtown. I got downtown like 1-ish, I think. I was like, okay, well, the cosplay contest is at 4. so I've got a little, I got some time to kill. So I went back into the vendor hall and wandered some of the aisles that I had not wandered yet. So and that's when I picked up some more stuff. I picked up some old vintage science fiction books.
Cool.
That
I've never seen your picture of those.
Yeah, that this vendor had a couple some spinning racks. For those that remember the old
yes,
style
those
metal
are so
spinning
fun.
racks.
Yes.
That hold, like your
your
like your
paperbacks.
old your old like, romance novels. It was those style racks that helped pulp books and magazines become popular because they were able to plant those in all sorts of places, not just bookstores, but like your local like 7-Eleven on the corner.
Right.
And stuff like that. So they had these, they had a whole bunch of these. I grabbed 3 of them, 2 of them written by women. One of them is an anthology, but it's edited by a woman. So
cool.
I thought that would be nice to add to our collection. Considering that we do have a panel called the Lost Women of Science Fiction, Lost Women Authors of Science Fiction. So, I ended up demoing the latest release from our friends over at Exploding Kittens, Anarchy Pancakes.
Nice. That looks like that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, if you've ever played, I've played a game very similar to it. That at a staff retreat once, that my boss brought, because her family, they're really big into board games. But it's essentially a matching game, but your cards have not just like one image, but like multiple images.
Oh yes,
and then they're usually in different sizes.
Yes, my middle schoolers have played. I can't remember what the game is, but yeah.
There's a lot of different versions of them like that, just different things. So, but in this case, it's Exploding Kittens, so they're supposed to look like pancakes, but they have just random crap on them, like a pair of pants and a cactus with a hat on it. And, but you're supposed to, each person puts down a card, and the minute you see another card that has an image on it that matches yours,
you take it.
You take it. And eventually you get to whoever gets rid of all their cards first wins that round, and they get a pat of butter.
Nice.
And then the first person to get 3 pats of butter wins the entire thing.
Nice.
So it's a very fast-paced type of game, but it's Exploding Kittens, so of course it's like weird because it's Exploding Kittens.
Right.
So, and the guy was nice enough to give me a pin from Throw Burrito.
Nice.
So compatible with Throw Avocado. Which I made sure to tell everyone, because the Throw Avocado was one of the things that one of the games Exploding Kittens sent to us that has since been given away.
Right.
At a convention recently. But I made sure to let everybody know when they commented on it that Throw Avocado could be played by itself or in combination with Throw Burrito. So oh my. So and I did also walk the hallway where the local groups had their fan tables. So like the Circle City Ghostbusters, they had a table set up. The folks from In Conjunction had a table set up to start promoting for next year's event. Starbase Indie, groups like that, the local library system, groups like that. So, so I did walk by and talk to some familiar faces that I saw. So, and then I ended up getting so kind of entranced with the different booths, not just the dice, because dice is always exciting. Shiny! Oh my god, so many different looking dice out there, and I'm like, I want them all. I don't need them, but I want them all.
It's like, I could make a character that those dice would be perfect for.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Meanwhile, I'm still looking for the perfect dice for my current D&D character, and I've not found them yet. It's one of those things where it's like, I know it when I'll see it.
See it? Right.
But I've not seen it yet. So,
and no inspiration hit you when you were by the dice tables.
Yeah. I mean, I saw some that I really liked. That was like, oh, those would be fun to play with, but it's like they don't scream my current character to me. So I would say at this rate the campaign will be over, but actually that won't be a problem since we're going really slowly in this campaign. So of course, there's other vendors that don't necessarily sell gaming stuff, but just geeky stuff. Of course, Dryad Tea was there, like they are every year, with their amazing tea products. So was tea and absinthe. I didn't buy from either of them because I still have packets from the last 2 GenCons that I've purchased from them. So I buy the tea and then I'm really slow about actually making the tea and drinking it. So.
Well, you gotta savor it. You don't want to go through it in a rush.
Tea, it's all dried. It's not going to go bad.
Right. Right.
But I also didn't need to add to the tin that's bursting at the seams as it is. So, and of course you got like you got your vendors that sell not necessarily for LARPing. I mean, you could wear some of this stuff for LARPing, but for some people it's everyday clothing, your leather goods, your belts, your corsets, your bags of holding, stuff like that. And lots of dice. Lots and lots of dice, and some very cool looking dice. I did buy a set of dice from a company called Fanroll, that they were the ones selling the official GenCon 2023 dice this year. But the guy was showing off a sneak preview of a product that's not available yet. It will be available next quarter. But it is a dice tray with a light built into it.
Awesome.
So, and then if you use light reactive dice in said tray, it looks really, really cool. So,
and I see a whole new production of dark light dice coming.
I mean, there's already light reactive dice out there. Some of it is just light reactive, some of it's black light reactive. Dice is not just like a 6-sided piece of plastic anymore. Like there's all like, I saw some dice that were being sold for really large amounts of money because they were made out of like precious metals.
Yeah.
Like brass and gold, and it's like,
there's
crap.
Liquid filled.
You've got the liquid core now, which you could do all sorts of things with them. I saw one that wasn't necessarily a liquid core, but they had put something in there that worked as an adhesive, and then glued into the inside of the die was a tiny little compass that you could see it spinning as you turned it. It would adjust to point to north.
Cool.
So people that just they put, they're not necessarily liquid core, but they'll just put stuff in the middle. I've seen mini rubber ducks and different types of animals. Although you can have fun with the liquid core as well. I saw some liquid core that had like eyeballs in them. So And of course, just the different colors and stuff. I saw one that each side had a wolf, the face of a wolf
neat.
on it, and then it had the number like in the wolf's forehead. So
cool.
It was really cool. So yeah, I did buy 2 sets of dice for myself.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, so one set is they look metal, but they're not. They're plastic.
Mm-hmm.
But they are black with glitter, like holographic glitter in them. But the numbers are like, I don't know what font you would call this, but like, like the old school like font you would use on like old arcade machines to show your score.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's what it reminds me of.
Oh, cool.
So, but these are from they call them their framed void dice. That's what they call the style, but I just thought they were really cool. But they're from they're from Fandom, so they're the same company that's going to have the light up dice tray.
Nice.
And then I got another set from a company called Q Workshop, and these, the color is a con exclusive, the style is not, but this is their dog dice set.
Oh, neat.
So the color is like a rose gold.
Oh, nice.
Very pretty.
Yeah.
But not that I really cared that if it was con exclusive. I was like, I just want the doggy dice.
Uh-huh. Just give me the doggy dice, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, but these are also plastic, but it's a polyhedral set, so good for D&D. But some of them, some of them, the numbers, they just have little paw prints.
Oh, okay.
Some of them, like this D20, like the D20 I'm holding here, the number 5 is inside a tennis ball.
Oh, cool.
I'm assuming this is the 20. It's a face of a dog smiling with its tongue out.
Oh, yeah.
The 8 is on a dirty old shoe. The 1 is a bone. Okay. So they're not all dogs on every side, but there's a stick.
It's dog related.
Yeah, it's all dog related. So it's like, dog is. So again, dogs, you have my attention.
Uh-huh.
So, and then I bought some loose dice from Chessex.
Ooh, nice. Those are some nice dice.
Yeah, and they are you can't miss them if you try. You'd have to not go into the vendor hall to not come across a Chessex booth, because they usually have 3 or 4 in the vendor hall. So and I think they all carry pretty much the same stuff, so it doesn't matter which one you stop at. But if you just find yourself stuck in like one area of the vendor hall the entire time, odds are you can get to a Chessex booth. But the other thing is they sell a lot of loose die. They do have sets, but you could also buy singles. So I bought a couple of D6s. They're always it's always handy to have D6s around. And one of them, the 6 is the silhouette of John Cleese, and it says Ministry of Silly Walks.
Oh, nice.
With his leg up in the air, he's dressed. If you've seen the Ministry of Silly Walks sketch,
yep.
He's doing his silly walk on his way to work at the Ministry of Silly Walks. And then the other one is the 6 is the British flag.
Cool.
And the die itself is actually blue and red in a metallic swirly color.
Oh, cool.
So this is actually meant for Axis and allies. Because I also had like Japan and Russia and others, but I was like, but it's the right colors and it's the Union Jack, so I had to have it. And then I don't know what you call this one. It's 10-sided.
Okay.
But it looks like a top if you took the bottom half of a top and cut it and then put two halves of the top together. So you had a pointy end on each side.
Okay.
So I guess in theory you could spin it maybe like a top or a dragon or something.
Yeah,
I think you're just supposed to throw. I think you're just supposed to throw that. But it's all the numbers are in French.
Oh, neat.
So and I also bought a couple more things, but they're presents for some people who may or may not listen to this.
Yeah.
So hopefully I will be able to get those to them later this year. So yeah. So yeah, Anarchy Pancakes, dice, of course. Another doggo game I came across called Heckin' Good Doggos.
Good title.
Which you just play adventures as dogs. And you can just buy just the book. You don't have to buy the matching deck. You can just play with a regular deck of cards. Because it's the suit and the matters for being able to play. It just so happens that if you buy the matching the matching deck of cards, each card has a dog on it that is an actual real life dog that somebody submitted to be put into the game. So but again, doggos, so it was cute. So I had to stop and look at it, and of course I found the one card that has a corgi on it.
Of course you did.
Nope. So by then, I realized it was after 4:00, so I'd missed the start of the cosplay contest. But also at this point, I was really hungry. And I was like, I really should eat something. And then from there, I can decide what to do based on how the sky looks and what the weather says. So I waddled over to one of my favorite places to eat called Lou Miller's, which they are on the far side of the Westin, across from the convention center. And they're tucked into this building. Right now there's construction, so if it wasn't for the fact that their door was literally wide open, they had a sign that says we're open, you wouldn't think they were open. But there's this tiny little British style pub, essentially, that really kind of is a hole in the wall. And the nice thing is since it's a pub, it's 21 and over. So if you're like, if you've been listening to like children scream and you need a break, you can go over there because there will be no children. No children allowed. So, although they were quite busy when I went. I'd never seen them that busy before. And I even said that to the waitress, and she's like, we were standing room only the night before. I'm like, wow. So nice. Yeah, in general, the consensus was people thought that the crowds were kind of crazy. That's only if you had been going the last couple of years right after the pandemic, where we got really spoiled because a lot of people weren't comfortable going to something that size yet. This was the first year where we were back to essentially pre-pandemic numbers. And for those that know better, it probably did seem like a lot, but those of us that know better and know what it was like pre-pandemic, they're like, yeah, no, this is pretty much back to the status quo. So I got the email, the official email from GenCon was 70,000 people over the weekend. So 4-day and Saturday badges were sold out by Friday afternoon. So
wow.
Yeah, so honestly, and because of that, I expected Saturday to be nuts, and it wasn't. And I think a lot of that had to do with the weather. I think the weather scared a lot of people off. So actually, the Saturday crowds were not that bad. So I went to Lou Miller's, got something to eat. Unfortunately, they were out of my favorite item on the menu. So I had to pick something else, but really you can't go wrong with anything on their menu because it's all really, really good. I had one of their GenCon themed cocktails.
That French dip looked amazing.
Oh my god, it was so good. I usually get their Hawaiian chicken salad. Which in itself is really, really good, but they were out of it. So I went with the French dip instead, and it was like I didn't have to chew that roast beef.
Oh, that's the sign of a good French dip.
Even before you dip it in the sauce, it was melt in your mouth. So
yum. So you could have done without the sauce and just ate the sandwich.
Yes, but I used the sauce anyway because it was there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you've given me a bowl full of salty beef flavored water. Of course I'm going to use it.
Exactly. Yes.
At the very least, it makes my bread taste like beef and salt.
Yes.
But yeah, no, the French dip was really good. Then I ended up getting dessert too.
Oh, that dessert looked awesome.
Was their strawberry shortcake, which you can't see it because apparently the waitress told them to double up on the whipped cream. But it was really good too. So by then it was 5:30, 5:45-ish. And the sky was looking kind of nasty. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna start walking back to the car.
Yep.
So I was like, I'll take my time, but if it starts raining, then I can speed up. I have my umbrella in my pocket, so in my bag. So if I need it, I'm prepared. So I took my time walking back to the car, which is about a half a mile. And I stopped at Starbucks for my third Starbucks of the day. And got something to drink. And went back to the car. And by then it was 6:00, and I had to be somewhere at a little after 7. I knew I needed to leave the area I was in a little after 7. But it was still downtown. So I was like, well, there's no point in me going home.
Right.
But I'm parked on campus where I work. We have Wi-Fi. So I just sat in my car and finished up an audiobook and was playing Pokemon Go and all different games on my phone. And just waited to see if the heavens would open up.
Right, yeah.
They never did. So then it was time for me to change location. So I drove over to over Market Street, which is now being called the Bottle Works District because that used to be a Coke bottling facility.
Okay.
That has since been repurposed. There's a hotel, there's shopping, there's restaurants, there's one of those like arcade type places where they've got a bar. They've also got like duck pin bowling and pinball machines and stuff, stuff where people can hang out, play games together, maybe get a little tipsy. That sort of thing. And the general area neighborhood is becoming very gentrified. So there's like there's a wine shop. There's some nice restaurants. There's a new bookstore that just opened recently. There's one of those fancy milkshake places where the milkshake's like the size of your head.
Oh, wow.
And they put all sorts of stuff on top of it that doesn't normally need to go on a milkshake. Yeah.
But still like, tastes so good anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Like, do not enter if you're diabetic.
Kind of like the Bloody Marys that you see at certain locales where you can get a whole meal.
Exactly. So the area is becoming very gentrified. So that's good. I've been over there for stuff during the day before, so it's not bad. But in this case, I was going over there because one of the buildings had been repurposed for a restaurant, and that evening the restaurant was closed to the public because it was hosting a private party hosted by Disney and Ravensburger. So it was a private media event to promote their newest game release, Disney Lorcana. Now, if you're part of the GenCon community,
you know all about Lorcana.
You know all about Lorcana whether you want to or not. Or at least you know about all the drama of Lorcana whether you want to or not. Because this game has just been for lack of a better term, kind of a shit show. Since the event catalog got released, really. So the event catalog it went out, and then when it went live for people to sign up, Lorcana was one of the hot tickets. Now what this is it's a Disney trading card game. So very similar to Magic the Gathering or the OG Pokemon card game. Or the early Magic the Gathering. Because I know Magic the Gathering's gotten a kind of complicated since its early days, from what I understand. Side note, didn't see anything in reference to the Doctor Who Magic the Gathering coming. So I did see teasers for other Magic the Gathering related stuff that's getting released next year. Nothing in reference to Doctor Who. So when the people started signing up for stuff, of course, Lorcana, everybody and their uncle wanted to sign up to play Lorcana. And so they did. And then not long after that, a lot of people started getting emails saying, sorry, your reservation to play Lorcana has been canceled because it's been overbooked. So some people are already kind of ticked off at the whole Lorcana thing anyway. So because I was not there Thursday, I did not see anything. All I know is what I've heard from people who were there.
Well, and then supposedly, too, if you believe Facebook, a whole pallet got stolen and they're investigating.
Yeah. And when I say what I've heard from people who were there is really people in the fans of GenCon Facebook group, and their experiences. So apparently, an unofficial line began Wednesday night outside the doors of the vendor hall. The doors closest to where the Ravensburger booth was supposed to be. Funnily enough, happened to be door H, which would, considering San Diego Comic-Con, like the biggest of the big is Hall H.
Right.
Kind of ironic when you think about it.
Yeah.
But an unofficial line began Wednesday night. And by Thursday morning, some of the people were still holding a line, while other people were like, this is crap because GenCon doesn't do lines. Not lines like this.
Right.
You can't say that GenCon doesn't do lines. All you have to do is look at the will call line to know that's a load of crap. But GenCon doesn't normally do lines outside of the vendor hall for specific booths.
Things. Right.
So when it came time to right before the doors were to open, it became a mob. Different people from either GenCon staff and or Ravensburger staff, supposedly. They could have been just volunteers helping out at the Ravensburger booth and were actually not, actually Ravensburger employees. Kept changing what doors were going to be opened and when. Supposedly they were going to let people in wheelchairs in first. That didn't really happen. So when the doors opened at 10 a.m., it was a cluster F.
Uh-huh.
And so people supposedly got trampled over. Supposedly there were fights. It was just nuts. And so
it was FUBAR.
it was FUBAR. So based on that, they started doing an official line the night before. So starting Thursday night, you could start lining up for Lorcana, and they were supposedly doing wristbands. At first, they were clipping people's badges, but the problem was there was no way to indicate what exactly the person had purchased, just that they had made a purchase. So like on the first day, if they managed to get like a starter pack and a booster pack, but they still wanted like the playmat,
right,
there was no way to differentiate that.
Gotcha.
So I'm not exactly sure what they were doing. I walked by on Sunday and I saw them clipping people's badges. So I don't know what, but at that point it was maybe just, buy whatever it is that we've still got on hand and just be happy with what you get, I guess. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
And the thing is like some people, some of these things people will go a little nuts over, because sometimes there are exclusives that you can't get anywhere else.
Right.
Like maybe a particular card that can only be got in a GenCon, or a certain style of playmat with a certain design on it. I know there was a Lord of the Rings One Ring, I think from Pazio, that got sold out really quickly. So, there's gonna some of the companies, they will do exclusives or get giveaways, with purchase, gift with purchase, that it's not something you could buy otherwise. So in this case though, the exclusive is a Mickey Mouse card that just has a GenCon exclusive stamp on it, but the card design itself, other than that stamp, you will be able to get in theory with the game. So other than that, there really wasn't anything exclusive. It's Disney people. It's really what it comes down to. That Disney people, I love you. I am one of you. Chauncey and I, we try to do something Disney related every year for our anniversary. We've made the pilgrimage to Marceline, Walt's hometown. We've done both U.S. parks. We've done a cruise. We were married at Disney. So we had a Disney wedding. So it's like, Disney people, we get it. The Disney fandom runs deep, but it can be kind of feral. And all you need to know, and I could have told them that. If somebody had just asked
Disney
me,
fans, we can have teeth at times.
Because all I would have had to say is look at the social media posts whenever Disney has released anything exclusive in the parks.
Oh, yes.
During limited stuff during like Food and Wine Festival or Festival of the Arts.
Popcorn buckets.
D23 Expo. Yes, anytime they release a special popcorn bucket, people will stand in line for hours for a freaking popcorn bucket. So yeah, the Disney fandom, I love y'all, but some of y'all are weirdos when it comes to collecting things. Granted, there are some people, they buy them just to turn around and sell them on like eBay and stuff for a huge markup. Those people suck.
Yep.
But the rest of y'all, the ones that are just like, I have to collect all the things. It's Disney and it's exclusive. I have to have it. There's something that lights up in their brain, and they just like the animal instinct takes over. And I could have told GenCon and Ravensburger that if they had just asked, but they were not prepared. They had
They
no idea
did
that that's
kind of do that research part of
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
it's
but
like,
now they know.
really, you're what? Like, obviously, they were working with the Disney, like the people in charge of, like, the making sure the characters look correct and stuff like that. Because the game right now with this first wave that's being released, you've got Mickey and friends, you got Mickey, Minnie, Donald, you've got a handful of the Disney princesses and some of their things that go with it. You've got Sleeping Beauty and the Little Mermaid, and you got Frozen. I've got a cut, and you got Aladdin, and 101 Dalmatians. So you got your characters, you got your good characters, your bad characters. You're obviously, again, if you're familiar with like Magic the Gathering, you've got articles, items that you can use for different things. And essentially you're battling to earn points, and you reach a certain point and whoever's got the most points wins. But you can build decks based on your style of play. So, some people may find themselves that they really like a certain color. I did that when I was playing Magic the Gathering. My deck was very blue heavy because I liked those cards that were in that category. Some people may be like, I'm gonna stick with Disney princesses, or I'm gonna stick with non-princess characters, Peter Pan, stuff like that, or whatever. So it's another way to get people into that type of card game with characters that they recognize, and therefore may make it easier to learn the mechanics, because you can be like, oh, Captain Hook, he's a bad guy, and therefore his ability is likely to be something negative or whatever.
Right.
Versus Peter Pan, he's a hero, so therefore his ability is going to be something good. Stuff like that. But anyway, so yeah, the whole Lorcana thing was just an absolute, even once they figured it out with the lines outside of the vendor hall, apparently each day once the doors were open, it still became kind of a big cluster. But it is what it is. It's over with now.
Yep.
The game will be for sale in local gaming shops in a couple weeks. They're going to go to those brick and mortar type places first. So if you've got a friendly local gaming / comic shop, because a lot of them nowadays, your local comic shop is also usually your local gaming shop as well. If they don't have it ordered, have them order it, and you'll be able to get it in a couple weeks. It'll go on sale to like the big box stores like Target and stuff, and online September 1st. So, if you missed out, other than that one Mickey card, you're not really missing out on a whole lot. You can just go buy it like everybody else. I don't know if the price is going to be different. I can't speak for that, because sometimes the games at GenCon can be slightly cheaper than they would be if you went to like Target or something, but I can't speak to that because I got my set for free. So, which is why I was in the Bottleworks district Saturday night at this private party. I don't know what the criteria was for them picking which members on the press list got the email, because this was very exclusive. There were maybe 24 of us.
Oh wow!
If you count the representatives from Disney Ravensburger, the people working the restaurant, like the waiters and the bartenders and stuff, there were maybe 40 people in this building.
Wow!
Total. So this was so I don't know what the criteria was. I didn't ask. They probably wouldn't have told me anyway. All I know is several weeks ago, before GenCon, I got an email from Ravensburger saying, you have been invited to this Lorcana party, RSVP here. So I did. because I was aware of the hype, and I was like, well, this I can get maybe a better idea of what the hell is going on here.
Right. Yeah.
Outside of the throng of people in the convention center. So it was really cool. They checked our ID at the door. There was a purple carpet for us to walk. It was my first time ever walking a quote unquote red carpet. In this case, it was purple. And having someone, making me stop and pose and take a picture,
Right.
So I was like, that's really cool. So then we got to meet a number of the people that worked on the game. There was also a guy from Disney specifically there. They fed us. I say fed. It was people walking around with trays with little nibbles, like little things, a shrimp cocktail and miniature salads. A lot of stuff on toothpicks. The desserts, on the other hand, Disney knows how to do desserts. I had this thing. They called it an ink pot. It was made out of chocolate.
Okay.
This thing was huge, in my opinion. Chocolate filled with this colorful mousse whipped topping, something or other. I picked it up and put it on my plate. It was really, really cold. So I think they took the chocolate, let it harden, probably stuck it in a freezer, then filled it with the filling and then threw it back in the freezer to make sure it would hold up. So then I'm attacking it with my fork like Norman Bates in Psycho. Trying to get this thing open. I finally got cracked open, and it was filled with it was like this whipped topping, whipped cream type thing, that when it was really cold, it was closer to ice cream, but as it got warm, it came closer to whipped cream, and it had mine had chunks of fruit in it, so I think it was flavored. And then the chocolate, you ate the chocolate ink pot it came into. It was really good. And then they had cake that was colored as well, because everything was colored. All the desserts were colored to the colors that are in the game. And then they had specialty drinks. They had some mocktails and some cocktails, and each one was colored and themed to the game. And then they had someone taking our picture and turning us into a custom Lorcana card.
Oh, nice.
So I have that. It's in a really nice, hard plastic case, and it's got a little easel it can sit on, a little stand.
Oh, cool.
They had a table with everything that's currently available with the game on display for us to see it. And they told us, a bit about the game and how they've been working on it for the past 3 years. And this is only phase 1 because it's going to be in chapters.
Okay.
And they showed us a little teaser promo that we weren't allowed to record it because it's embargoed, but I think it's supposed to be released tomorrow as we're recording this, the 8th. So I don't know if that's something that's going to start going up on social media starting tomorrow. But gave us an idea of the storyline, because it's Disney. They're not just going to do a game. It's a game with a story.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, and then we all got swag bags with our own copy of the game in it. So we all got a starter deck, good for one person, and then some booster packs. We got a play mat, and of course instructions on how to play and that sort of thing. And as kind of a social mixer, they had us. Also in our swag bag was a kind of a scavenger hunt. So you had a list of 6 cards, and you'd start with your whatever was in your swag bag and your starter pack and your boosters. See which ones you had, and then walk around and talk to the other people and make trades until you got the set of 6 that you needed, and then you could go and turn it in for a prize. So it was a good way for us to talk and interact with each other. And it was also fun to see people going through their cards and seeing what they had, and organizing their cards. And it was really cool because if we get to the point where some people had gotten their 6, but other people hadn't. And then people would be like, well, I need, an Aladdin, or I need a Gaston. And somebody would be like, I have one. And they were like, well, what do you need? And they'd be like, well, I already got my 6. And they're like, well, is there anything you want? They're like, no. So in some cases, people were just giving people the cards they needed.
Right, which is
and
very
they didn't care about getting anything in return. So although one gal, I gave her the card she needed, and then because when we went to tournament to get our prize, they gave us the cards back. They didn't keep them because they didn't need them.
Okay.
Right. So they gave us cards back with the prize, and she ended up giving me my card back. I'm like, I didn't care if you gave it back, but okay, sure, why not? Thank you. So that was cool. Yeah, so then we talked about the game, talked about GenCon for some of these people it was their first GenCon. And that was really cool. And on the way out, they gave each of us a package of appropriately colored and themed macarons.
Oh, nice!
Which are sitting in my fridge, waiting to be eaten at the appropriate time. So, but yeah, it was kind of wild to see all the Lorcana stuff. People just losing their mind, and I'm over here like, they did not give us the everything that was for sale.
Right.
But they gave us enough that if we wanted to play with someone else, we could. They gave us enough to add the base starter. Right. Which, is still really cool. So I need to actually sit down and like figure out how to play the game. And then when it goes on sale to the public, then I can start picking up cards like for Chauncey if he wants to start playing, or whatever. So I have somebody to play against, because I don't think there's enough cards to split between 2 people to play. I think it's just enough for one person to get started. But that's still really cool and really generous of them. And like I said, I don't know what the criteria was how that I got the email and someone else did it. But I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. And, obviously, as much as I love Disney, once I finally sit down and like look at the game and the mechanics, and I'll probably do a review that'll go up on YouTube or something. Obviously, I will be completely honest about it. This is the fact that I got this stuff for free does not color my opinion whatsoever. So, but it is still really cool to be able to be like, to have this swag bag full of stuff and be like, so that was cool. And then I went home and it sprinkled as I was pulling into my parking lot. That's the amount of rain we got. I missed the cosplay contest and rearranged, I changed up how my entire day was going to go because the weatherman said that the heavens were going to open up.
Right. And they did.
And then shit. Diddly squat, except for a little bit of spitting rain as I was pulling into the parking lot of my house. So yeah. Thanks a lot. But you know what? If I had not changed my schedule, that exactly what would have happened. I would have got drenched.
Yep.
Like a sewer rat. So but yeah, I'm gonna have to see if I can find a recording of the cosplay contest because I hate that I missed it. But whatever. So then yesterday I had to get up early because I did have some stuff I signed up for. So I did get up and was downtown, and I went looking for Tony from the podcast formerly known as Geeking in Indiana. And I knew where he was supposed to be, and I wandered over there, and he wasn't there. So I must have missed him. Like the one time I got to go over there was the one time he wasn't there, so I missed him. So sorry, Tony. I missed seeing a lot of people, honestly, because there was a lot of people I know were there, and I just it's 70,000 people,
right?
You know, you're bound to miss some people. So the fact that I ran into the few people I did is just statistics. So
yeah.
Like I never made it actually into Lucas Oil Stadium.
Oh wow.
So
because previous years you had, right?
Yeah, I mean nowadays that's where they have like the fighting area for like the foam. It's like the people that want to do like the fighting with weapons, with the foam weapons. It varies what they put over there, but they've got stuff going on over there over in Lucas Oil, but I never made it actually into the football stadium. So but yeah, so I did but I had to stop by the OP booth again to check in with Andrew. That's when I asked him how the tournament went, and he said it went great. And then he directed me to the people I needed to talk to get some goodies.
Nice.
So he's like, go tell them what you want and they'll hook you up. So I'm like, sweet. And I'm like, I don't know what I want because these are going to be giveaways. So my opinion really doesn't matter because I'm not going to be playing
what
them.
You want.
It's like, this is the type of games I'm looking for. It's like family friendly for like ages like 8 up. And so that's what they did. So I ended up walking away with 3 games that are now going to be divided up in some form or fashion for Indie PopCon here at the end of the month. So, because once again, I will be doing Name That Geeky Tune as a panel. So, any prizes for that? And then we will also be having a raffle because we're on the last pieces, but we still have stuff from Cards Against Humanity and Exploding Kittens to give away. So,
gotcha.
And then that'll be it for this season, though. And then we'll start over again next year. But yeah, now we got some stuff from OP, so that's cool. Thank you to them for offering. They've if you remember, like 2017, 18, I think. We did a giveaway online for some games.
I remember that. Yep.
Yeah. And those were from the OP as well. So
cool.
They've been good about getting stuff to us every now and then when the need arises. So that's cool.
Yes, very cool.
Yep. So there is that, and then I went and got in line. So I took some pictures of the big balloon sculpture before they destroyed it.
Yes, those were awesome pictures.
It's so big.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Which
having to blow up all the balloons. Holy cow!
Yeah, well, they use a machine.
But still,
yeah, that's not done by lungs.
No.
So,
but still, even with the machine, trying to get them tied and put together in the right way.
Yeah,
that takes a lot of time.
Yeah, the artists had posted before GenCon that they were excited for this year because they're like, we want to do so. It's like we've had this design idea and haven't been able to pull it off yet, but we're gonna try it this year, and that's exactly what they did. Because GenCon had been doing this weird like space themed with one of their merch launches earlier this year that started on April Fool's Day of all days. So So they were doing this space theme. So then the balloon sculpture people were like, "Good, this will tie in." So, but this was so yeah. So I took some pictures of that. Got some final photos of the vendor floor. I had to make sure I got some shots of the castle that eBay built.
Oh yeah.
Oh, eBay, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
There's always at least one vendor that just does something just outrageous for their build, for their booth build. So usually, well, it depends. Crap. I can't think of the company, the gaming company.
Paizo?
No, it's one of the card ones.
Okay.
Upper Deck. There we go.
Upper Deck. Okay,
yeah. Upper Deck.
They used to
Their
do the
booth is usually
cards.
themed to one of the IPs that they're releasing. So
Gotcha.
They did Big Trouble in Little China one year.
Oh, nice.
They did James Bond.
Cool.
One year. This year it was themed to The Boys. If you watch the DC show, The Boys. So I've never watched it, but I took pictures and sent it to Nick, and he had a little fanboy freak out on it. So
The Boys, Amazon Prime, that's it's not family friendly viewing. It's adults only.
Yeah, from what I understand, yes, that's not the case. Yes. But yeah. But then I got in line to see past guest and friend of the show, Ginny D, who is back.
Nice.
So she was at a booth, signing autographs and taking pictures with folks.
Cool.
She has gone places since we saw her last. She has because
I've seen her promo with Critical Role as dressed up as Jester. That was perfect. That's spot on. It was just like, oh, we've had her on. I know her. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. She I mean, when I saw her at GenCon pre-pandemic, she was a guest of one of the vendors, and they just kind of put her in the corner of the booth. And people stood in line, and she met people, and we took pictures and selfies and stuff, and that was kind of it. But now, she had one whole side of this booth was a giant picture of her with her name on it, and she's got merch now. She's got shirts and stickers.
Oh, that is so
water
cool.
bottles and her own set of dice and
nice
pins of her various original characters that she's come up with, and she's got like a D&D one-shot book that you could buy.
Yep. Oh, cool.
So she is taking off. So I ended up buying the water bottle, which she graciously signed for me.
Oh, nice.
I always need water bottles because I have a husband that likes to steal water bottles from me after a point when he gets all of his dirty and hasn't bothered to clean them yet, but he still needs one. So then he starts reaching for mine. Doesn't matter if it's not it doesn't matter if it's like My Little Pony on the design on the outside. He's still going to use it. But eventually he gets into mine and uses them for things like his coffee and smoothies, which both of those stain terribly, and especially the coffee can leave behind a really nasty coffee aftertaste no matter how much you clean it after a while. So then I don't want to use it anymore, so then I'm out a fancy cup or water bottle, and it becomes his. So.
Rachel had sent you the pattern.
Yes. So now I have this one, which Ginny D signed. I gotta figure out a way to reach. Yeah, I gotta figure out a way to preserve the signature so that it doesn't wear off with time.
Yes.
And if anybody's got any suggestions, please let me know. But yeah, it was nice to see her again, chat for a few minutes, talk about how life has been crazy since last time. She's got married.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So
congrats to her again.
Yeah. So she's been a busy little bee.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we haven't either, but
Right,
but yeah, so it's cool to see, someone like her that, just started out doing crazy, just like cosplay and like parody songs on her little YouTube channel to now she's doing all this stuff with, officially with like Critical Role and D&D and different companies and stuff. So it's really cool.
Very cool.
So I got those checked off. Those were two of my to-dos. Was to make sure to pick up the stuff from the OP and see Jenny. And then my last to-do was the one ticketed event I paid for. Definitely was going to make sure that I did the thing I paid for. Granted, it was only $2, but still.
You don't want to miss it.
I want to waste $2. It was it was the final film in the film festival. But it was an episode that's going to be part of a docu-series that Czech Games is putting out on their YouTube. I think they said right now it's just the first episode is out, and this is the episode they showed us was like episode 5, so it's going to be a while before it gets posted. But it's their docu-series about how different games are made. But the one they showed us was their episode about how they came up and created code names.
Oh, nice.
So, and how it went on to become an award winner. It won the Spiel des Jahres, which is the Academy Award equivalent for games. That's that book back when we did our currently episode.
Right.
That was one of the books that I just finished reading where everyone is a winner.
Right,
where the guy covers the Spiel des Jahres up to whenever the book was really printed, like in the last couple of years, so 40-ish years of the Spiel des Jahres. And each chapter is each year. So when he gets to code names, he talks about how code names was kind of just this. Even in the episode, the people from the company are all like, because some people are like, let's, if we give it its proper time in development and print, we probably got something here. But other people are like, this seems like such an obvious concept for a game. Surely someone else has thought of this. We need to get it out the door before anybody else does.
Right, exactly. Hit while the iron is hot.
Exactly. And they're definitely one of those games that, just like the Academy Awards. Spin-offs. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, just like the Academy Awards with the Spiel des Jahres, there are some games that they win and it's great promotion. Although the thing with the Spiel des Jahres, a little side thing here, is the eligibility is your game becomes eligible once it's printed in Germany.
Oh.
So once it's available in Germany, your game is can go into contention for that year or whatever the next Spiel des Jahres go round is.
Game producers, make sure you have
so games could actually be around for a while.
German.
Yeah. So it's like, Codenames, like it was really popular. That its debut was at GenCon.
Okay.
its debut anywhere was in the United
Wow.
States here at GenCon, and it was just so. Eventually, like the next year, it was released in Germany and was eligible. So, but yeah, it's just like the Academy Awards with the Spiel des Jahres, and sometimes there are games that have won that nobody like even remembers the name to them. So it's like sometimes the winning doesn't necessarily help.
Right.
So, but in some cases, the game is already huge. It just hasn't been. They just haven't bothered to release it in Germany yet for whatever reason. So, but anyway, so check the Czech Games YouTube for episodes for that. But yeah, it was kind of funny to hear the some of the some of the employees that would be like, should we do this now? Should we do this?
Yeah.
Wait, huh? So, but yeah, that was it. It was, and there was supposed to be a Q&A with some of the Czech game employees after, but there weren't enough people in the audience to make a difference, unfortunately. So, I think they sold just enough tickets to justify showing it, and then that was about it. So, then by then there was an hour left, and I was like, okay, I'm done, because by then I was loaded down. I'd gotten those 3 games from the OP, which I had to go get one of the giant reusable bags from the Up by Will Call. And even if I had just stuck with those, only had those 3 games, 2 of them are kind of your quote unquote standard board game box size.
Right.
So decent size. But then I ended up picking up 2 more games. So I had 5 in my bag. Only one of them tiny. So I felt bad walking through the vendor hall because I had this up on my shoulder like a giant like Andre the Giant carrying a boulder in The Princess Bride.
Right.
Just like I'm every bit of Midwestern. Pardon me.
Yep.
Just like, so sorry,
coming through.
Yeah, because I was like, there's no good way to hold this because it weighs a lot and it's just awkward.
And I got a long way to go to get to my car, so I need to be comfortable. Yeah, so I was like, I'm so sorry, people I run into. So, but yeah, I picked up Dubious, which, if you remember from my review last year, I played it. I demoed it when it was literally a test. Like the game was still in let's figure out if we need to make any changes before we print this. Yeah, I was like in beta testing still. But I really liked it so much. So then when I saw it for sale properly, in the box and wrapped in plastic wrap, I'm like, that's so cool, because it's like, hey, I know they were hoping to have it available this year, but you just never know when something might happen. So the fact that they had it's out, I'm like, that's cool. So I picked that up, and then I picked up a game called Her Story, where you are a I'll get the box. I want to make sure I get this right. Called Her Story, Iconic Women of History. Oh, neat.
It says, in Her Story, you are an acclaimed author writing a book to tell the stories of remarkable women in history. Along the way, you'll uncover special advantages and powers, all while learning about these iconic women. So, and then of course there are ones that you're gonna recognize: Frida Kahlo, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Malala, Amelia Earhart. But there's some in here that, just looking at the pictures on the backs, I'm like, I don't know who that is, but I'm interested to
Find out.
There's 120 historic women.
Nice.
A portion of all proceeds for the game go to the Malala Fund.
Awesome.
And when I was buying the game, the guy said that they had like 100 different women working on this game.
Oh, that's
various aspects. So it was very female driven. So
yeah,
I picked that up. I'm gonna find some way to use that in some sort of educational fashion for the nonprofit. So
oh yeah, exactly.
So so yeah. Then I waddled back to the car and then came home and collapsed. And I've been kind of sleeping ever since.
Don't blame ya.
So, but
all in all, sounds like you had a fantastic time.
I did. I mean, it's still exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
According to the app on my phone, I walked 12.6 miles, which is a half a mile shy of a half marathon.
Wow.
Over the course of 3 days.
You hatched quite a few Pokemon eggs.
Not as many as I would have liked. Did have to preserve the battery. So, but yeah, I mean, the way I did it, scheduling wise, worked really well for me, even with the kerfuffle with Mother Nature and the weatherman not being on the same page. Must be nice to be a weather person, to always be wrong at your job and stay employed. But other than that, scheduling wise, this really worked out well for me. I mean, it by the time you reach Sunday, you're still tired, because I mean, you're on your feet. It's a lot of socializing. The crowds yesterday were nuts.
Oh, I can imagine. Well, last day everybody's trying to get stuff.
Well, and Sunday is family day, so badges are like $18 for Sunday. So it's like the cheapest.
That's a steal.
Day to get in. The will call line was so long. I'm sure there were people that probably didn't get to do hardly anything because they spent their entire day in the will call line, which is unfortunate. Because Sunday is such a short day. I mean, it's over at 4. So it's not a whole lot of time. But yeah, you're going to be tired no matter what. It's just at least now I'm not to the point by Sunday where I'm like, just shoot me now, like take me behind the barn and put me out of my misery tired.
Right. Yeah.
It's just, I've been on my feet for 3 days, almost nonstop.
I would like a rest, please.
I would like a rest, please. So, and the socializing, it takes a bit out of you as well, running the social battery. But again, I did not run into as many people as I necessarily would have liked to. There are some people I would have liked to see, but it just did not happen. I did run into Carl from PopCon on my way out.
Oh, nice.
Along with Josh from the Established Facts, which I saw Josh. Josh was standing outside the kids area, and because he was waiting for his kids and his wife to exit and come out. But I saw him and he saw me, and I'm like, you look about how I feel. So
the members of the It's Been Fun But We're Ready to Go Home club.
Yep. And then Carl was like, only 2 weeks and 6 days until PopCon. I'm like, oh my God, Carl.
We get to do this all again. Different location.
I was like, I might be rested by then. Well, thankfully, PopCon's a lot smaller. The footprint's a lot smaller. So
Yep. Yeah.
And because I have a table I can just go to my table and sit.
Yes, and play Boost
So.
Mom for a little bit.
Yep. But still, it's like I'm also doing 2 panels, and there are several celebrity autographs and photos I would like to get this time around. So
that's true.
Popgun's still going to be gone. I'll worry about that in 2 weeks and 5 days now. Thank you, Carl, for that lovely reminder. So yeah, that was GenCon.
It's...
So all my pictures are up on our Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I posted what I could on social media, but all the pictures I took are up on our Facebook. Video, I will get around to editing and putting up on our YouTube at some point. I think it's supposed to rain. Supposedly, it's supposed to rain on off and on the rest of this week, so that'll be good incentive to stay inside and get stuff done on the computer. Unless the weatherman's wrong again.
Right.
But yeah, there's video to come from the stuff that I did do. And the interviews, I will go through
Fingers
the audio
crossed.
and see what I can make of the interviews, and those will go up on YouTube as well at some point. So at the very least, my goal is to have that stuff up before PopCon.
Gotcha.
So get one con done and over with before the next one begins.
Yep.
That's the goal, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh my. Well, if our listeners attended GenCon and want to give their 2 cents, maybe you got involved in the Lorcana mess, or you just saw it from a distance. I want to give you your experience. Or if there's any games that you tried that you think we should check out, you can send us feedback. Our email is fiveshfangirls@gmail.com, or you can go to our website, which is thefiveshfangirls.com, where you can connect with all our other social media accounts: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter /X. It's always going to be Twitter, sorry.
Yep.
I am holding on to that.
Yep.
So there's also a link to the book club. So if you want to vote for our next selection or join in the discussion for the current selection, you can do that. If you wish to financially support us, you can do that a number of ways via Ko-fi. Or if you want to become a regular supporter on Patreon, you can do that as well. Or you can buy merch. We have all sorts of designs that you can get, all sorts of products, from shirts to stickers to shower curtains. Although I don't know if I've actually said designated on the back end that any of our designs could be used on a shower curtain, but I guess if somebody really wants one of our designs on the shower curtain, send us a message and I will do that for you, so you can order it. You're like, I really, really want the empty bag of holding for
warm stabby hugs.
Or warm stabby hugs on a shower curtain. I will make that happen for you. So but yeah, there's that. So yeah. GenCon. Mark your calendars. GenCon will be the first weekend in August next year. I think that's August 1st through 4th, I think. 5th, something like that. And they actually just announced that GenCon is signed on with the city of Indianapolis through 2030.
Yeah. Saw that this morning. I'm like, wow.
Yep.
Ooh.
So, I'm going to be doing this again for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I say that now and I'm like, oh my God, what is wrong with the world? But then, 9 months from now, I'm going to be like, yay, GenCon! So, so yeah.
Yeah.
So, alrighty.
Yes.
So, for now, we shall sign off for this week. So I go to sleep again.
Yeah. This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this was Rachel in Indianapolis. Yeah, funnily enough, GenCon used to be in Wisconsin.
It used to be, yes.
Yeah, but now we have it. We've had it for 20 years and we're not letting it go.
Nope. Thank you for listening to the Fiveish Fangirls. Please visit thefiveshfangirls.com for details on how to further support the show, along with information on our nonprofit, Fangirls Give Back. We love our Fiveish fam and appreciate all of your feedback, shares, and encouragement. Remember to keep letting your geek flag fly.